Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive?
Always. What are we digging into today?
This time we're heading straight into the action of India's fast fashion scene.
Oh, interesting. Which brand?
We're talking about Zudio. They're really shaking things up.
I've heard the name, but to be honest, I don't know much about them. What makes them stand out?
Well, they're taking on the big international players, Zara and H&M.
Wow, those are some heavy hitters. So how are they competing? Lower prices?
That's part of it, but it's more than that. They're completely changing the game plan. Our research shows that fast fashion in India is huge, right? Young people, online all the time, and they want the latest trends.
Right, it's a prime market.
Exactly. And most brands would just follow the same old formula. But Zudio, they saw things differently.
What did they do?
They realized that no one was paying attention to what they call Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities.
So they're targeting those areas that are often overlooked. Smart.
It is. And they didn't just set up shop there. Zudio really took the time to understand the local culture, you know?
So it's about more than just selling clothes. They're actually connecting with people.
Exactly. And that's reflected in their designs too.
How so?
Well, they've managed to blend global trends with a distinctly Indian aesthetic.
Interesting. So they're tapping into that desire for both global trends and local pride.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, you can have both.
That's brilliant. Okay, I have to ask, how are they keeping the prices so low?
That's the million-dollar question. I mean, we're talking trendy tops for under 200 rupees, dresses for under 500. How is that even possible?
It does seem almost too good to be true.
Right. Well, that's where the Tata Group comes in.
Of course. Zudio is backed by the Tata Group.
Exactly. So they're not just some small startup. They have the backing of one of India's biggest companies.
Which gives them huge advantages.
It's like having a superpower. They can access the Tata Group's manufacturing, their suppliers, all those things that would take forever and a ton of money to build on your own.
It's like they're playing chess and they started the game with like extra queens or something.
Exactly. And that's a big part of how they can offer such amazing prices without skimping on quality.
It's fascinating how they've managed to crack the code of affordability and quality.
They really have. It makes you wonder, how do they do it? What's the magic formula?
Well, it's not magic, but it is pretty clever. They've tapped into something really important, cultural relevance.
Right, they get it.
Imagine you're a young person in one of these Tier 2 cities, right? You see all these amazing fashion trends online, but
they don't feel very relatable.
Exactly. Like those trends are cool, but they don't really reflect your life or your culture.
It's like they're speaking a different language.
Exactly. And that's where Zudio comes in. They bridge that gap. They take those global trends, like a certain cut or style, but then they give it an Indian twist.
I love that.
So they might use traditional Indian prints or embroidery or embellishments, and suddenly those global trends feel relevant and accessible.
It's like they're saying, hey, you can be stylish and still be true to yourself.
Exactly. And that message is so powerful, especially for young people who are figuring out their identity and their style.
It's not just about selling clothes, it's about empowerment.
Exactly. Zudio understands that fashion is a form of self-expression, and by offering trendy, culturally relevant clothing at affordable prices, they're empowering a whole new generation to embrace their personal style.
It makes you wonder, how does Zudio keep up with the ever-changing world of fast fashion? Because things move so quickly.
That's another area where they excel. They're incredibly agile.
So they're fast.
Lightning fast. Think about it. Zara, H&M, they can take weeks, even months to bring new trends to their stores. Zudio, they can turn things around much faster.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's because they're not bound by the traditional fashion calendar. They can release new collections more frequently, keeping their offerings fresh and exciting.
So they're not just keeping up, they're ahead of the game.
Exactly, and that creates a buzz, you know? People are constantly checking back to see what's new. It's like a constant cycle of excitement.
And that's really smart because it builds loyalty. Customers know they can always find something new and exciting at Zudio.
And it's not just about the clothes, it's about the entire experience. For many young people in these Tier 2 and 3 cities, a trip to Zudio is an event.
It's social.
Exactly. It's a chance to connect with friends, to get inspired by the latest trends.
It's like a cultural hub where fashion and affordability meet.
And that's what makes Zudio so special. They've created a space where young people can experiment with their style, express themselves, and feel confident, all without breaking the bank.
You know, when I first heard about Zudio, I thought it was all a little too good to be true.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, how could they offer such low prices and still make it work?
Right, it seems impossible.
Yeah, but after looking at their business model, it all starts to make sense.
They're really doing something different.
It really challenges how we think about global brands, doesn't it?
It does.
They're proof that you don't need to be this huge corporation to be successful.
They found their niche and they ran with it.
Exactly. And they're proving that understanding those local markets can be a real advantage.
In a world that's becoming more and more global every day.
It's easy to forget about those individual needs.
But Zudio, they're showing us that it can be a winning strategy.
And think about the impact this is going to have in the long run.
These customers are growing up with the brand.
Right, it's like they've built this loyal following.
Because Zudio gets them, you know?
They're not just buying clothes. They're buying into a brand that reflects their values.
Exactly. And that's huge.
It makes you wonder if this is the future of successful brands.
This hyper-local, customer-centric approach.
It's definitely something to think about.
Zudio has given us a lot to consider.
That's for sure. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of Zudio.
It's been a fascinating one.
It really has. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
See you all in our next deep dive.